The US Treasury is set today to make a new record by buying back $15 billion of its own bonds, which could send crypto to the moon. If you're on X or you're listening to people on TikTok talk about crypto, this is probably something you've heard before, but unfortunately, it's only a half-truth, guys. And the reality of the situation with Treasury buybacks is a lot more complex, but we can break it down very simply and help you understand when it's something that actually might matter or it's something that may not matter. Let me explain. So when we talk about Treasury buybacks, there is the need sometimes where the Treasury buys back its own debt through bonds, and this does push cash or liquidity into the market. And that is good for crypto when that does happen as just a normal need for liquidity support. However, every single buyback is not necessarily a liquidity support. It actually could be what's called cash management. And essentially what that is there's old bonds probably that are expiring and need to be re-upped. So in essence, we're not actually pushing cash or new cash into the market. We're just taking and flipping old bonds. So it's kind of a net neutral in terms of liquidity. Well, this is really important to know because, for example, today with the $15 billion buyback that the Treasury is doing, that's just cash management, which ultimately means that there is a net zero for liquidity actually being pushed into the market for support. This is huge because it explains why in the past we've seen tons and tons of buybacks from the Treasury, but no real movement from crypto. And unfortunately, largely most of the major purchase buybacks are literally just because the national debt has to be rolled over. Now, you're going to see this happen a lot this year because, as we've looked at before, this year alone, in 2026, we are expected to see the most amount of national debt rollover that we have seen, possibly even in history. I haven't even fully checked that, but it is a huge, significant amount from the quantitative easing that started a number of years ago. So then you might ask yourself, okay, well, how do I know if it's liquidity support or if it's just cash management? Well, fortunately for all of us, they've made it really easy. They actually have a schedule of releases for these buybacks to show you when they're expecting to release them back into the market. And they specify whether this is a cash management or liquidity support. Yes, that's right. You can go on treasury.gov and you'll find this document right here. And this talks about specifically, and I've even highlighted it in red to make it very clear which type of buyback this is. Is it liquidity support for the market or is it a cash buyback? Both, of course, are very important for different reasons, but the one that we care about in the crypto world or in high risk assets alone, that also would include stocks, et cetera, that is going to be liquidity support. So watch out for those big players. And of course, all of this goes back to, guys, why I constantly am telling you all, do your own research. It's so important to, because you